Hi, this is June again, and we're here at the Ananda Marga Jagriti. After the take the last video we had a conversation, and it's very interesting that I would wanna ask Dada again to tell us more about his perspective on dying and why we don't know who we really are, and his perspective on why we don't know what happened what happens after we die. When he was saying, in fact, we died and lived and died and lived so many times in the past. So Dada, can you share that with the viewers, what you were telling me before? And that about desire and stuff.
Yes, to start, life, death is a very natural thing. It's nothing exceptional. It's a natural fact of life that one day we'll all die. And death is also pause. There is movement and there is pause. Movement and pause in everything, in our breath, in our blood circulation, heart pumping, blood, etc. There is day, there is a cycle of day and night. There is the seasons. There is time to be born, there's time to die. And that's just a natural fact of life. But most human beings are afraid of death, and in their fear, they abhor to think about death. It gives them the shivers. Little death is the death that we go and we come back again and again to be born again.
So how come we don't know who we were before?
It's possible to remember when you're born again that in your past life you're such and such person, he or she.
And our experience
that's called the
death.
extracerebral memory. That memory can be developed. But the cerebral memory, the cells of the brain, the only memory that they understand is what you learn in this life. So you have to develop a special kind of memory to remember beyond death, beyond the period of pause when the unconscious mind is not working, when the conscious and subconscious mind, they are not working, and you are in a state of disconnection with the nerves, with the cells, with the vital force, and you can't learn or you can't express anything in that state.
So Dada, remember when you told me, you agreed with me that there's this life essence that will never change and that remains forever, and the mind, which is sort of, it's finite and it changes. So that, is it possible that after death, the mind just stops being, and that you sort of you exist as the life essence, and then when you go into another life, the mind kicks in, and so because it's finite, and then suddenly you don't know who you were before, you don't know what the death experience is, and stuff like this. You were saying about desires and stuff, when it stops, that's when you sort
I was telling you that when you are going to die, your mind ceases to express itself. Mind is unconscious. Mind still exists. When you're born again, that mind has to return to express itself in the physical world with the help of new nerves, new glands, sensory organs, motor organs, and the limbs, etc. Virtually a new body. So the mind needs that to express itself. But when you are dying, what will determine if you are going to be born again or if you're never going to be born again is your wishes, your desires. If you still have desires to express in this world, then you will be born again. And if you are free from all sorts of desires, then at that point you disintegrate your mind your personality, you become one with the consciousness, pure consciousness, life essence.
Which is the life essence.
Yes.
Then you become infinite and
You
all-knowing.
become life essence, so you don't need a mind anymore, because mind is really limited and doesn't know everything, doesn't feel everything.
Okay, cool. That is
Limited
really
scope.
good, Dada.
Yeah.
So where do you think the mind came from? This, like the Vriddhis and stuff, like desire, aversion, joy, sorrow, sadness, envy.
This is all part of the transformation from crude to subtle. Like, we have to express consciousness. Consciousness cannot be expressed without mind.
You mean consciousness?
Mind has two aspects. One is the psycho-spiritual and one is the psychophysical. The psychophysical part of the mind is guiding the body, how to develop yourself in this material world. And the psycho-spiritual is inspiring you to go back to the life essence. So both are very important. In one way, you need to survive in this world, you need to do the practical things, like to keep your hair, to keep your clothes, to keep your house, environment, cleanliness, health, all these things. Do good things. Use your hands and feet to act.
Survive.
To survive and help others, do service. And in the other hand, you have a psycho-spiritual aspect of the mind that inspires you constantly to go back where you come, where your hands came. And that is to go beyond the mind. The psycho-spiritual aspect of a human being is to go beyond the mind.
So how can you stop the mind? Is it possible right now to self-realize and stop the mind? And who has done that?
Well, that process is not happening in one instant. Yes, it's
Why
true.
is that?
It's true that it's possible, but a human being has to be having very, very few desires in life, has to mature enough to come to that conclusion that I am only here for love, and I'm only here for service, and I'm only here to realize God. If someone feels like that, and everything else is secondary importance, then in a very close time, in a very short time, he's going to come to conclusion of his life that the purpose will be realized. But if we have many desires, superfluous desires, to enjoy this, to pleasure that, to taste this, to taste that, then we need a little more time. That's all. It's all about expressing yourself, fulfilling your desires and wishes. And the mind definitely has attachment to pleasure. And the mind has attachment to objects of the world.
Pleasure and pain.
Pain is just an adjustment of pleasure.
Okay. So, where does all these desires come from? I mean, because if we know where they came from, then maybe we will know how to stop them.
Desires should be channelized. They should never be stopped.
But where
It's
do
like
they
Tai
come
Chi,
from?
you turn the energy this way, that way. You don't block, you just turn them.
Okay.
So
Where
you
do
have
they
to
come
sublimate the desire. Desires come from growth. It's part of your process of growing.
Growing in the physical level.
Growing in all levels.
Like
Maturing spiritually, growing physically, growing mentally, expanding your mind. Desires are part of that process that you want to, like beauty. Beauty is something that the subtle mind is more attracted to beauty than a crude mind. So if you give an object to a person with a subtle mind, an artist, a pair of shoes, that artist might not find that shoes attractive. He might find another kind of shoes more attractive. So you have to see, to fulfill the desire of an artist is harder than to fulfill the desire of a simple person. A simple person might think, I just need a pair of shoes, any shoe will do. But for a person with a more artistic point of view, you have to have some choice of color, shape,